Guardian Unlimited.
Is that your girlfriend? Small world.
The Heckle.
I love what you've done for the curtains, love.
The Heckle.
Hello! I'm Brian Logan.
And I'm Lucy Porter.
And welcome to today's Heckle, broadcast to you from the Guardian's kitchen table. Lucy, pass me some coffee, will you?
I'll plunge right now. So we're bringing you an extended Heckle, a half-hour roundup show where we'll be looking at what's been good and what's been not quite so good on the first week of the Edinburgh Festival.
We'll have a walk round the Andy Warhol exhibition with Simon Munnery, and we'll have a look at the Free Fringe. But first, let's introduce to you our kitchen table guests.
Joining us is the Guardian's very own Lynn Gardner. Hello, Lynn.
Hello.
Would you like some coffee?
Oh, that'd be lovely. Excellent.
We also have with us comedian Marcus Brigstocke. What can I tempt you with, Marcus?
You're very kind. I've got a glass of water here, and that's all I need, thanks.
So it's certainly been a busy week for me, as well as podcasting daily. I'm seeing about 5 shows a day, but Lynn, I know that's a mere bagatelle next to your schedule. How many shows have you been seeing?
Probably about 6 or 7.
Any particular highlights recently?
Yeah, the two I'd really go for are a show called Mile End, which is on at the Pleasance Dome, and the other one is The Devil in the Deep Blue Sea, and that's at Underbelly.
I think we're going to hear a clip from Devil in the Deep Blue Sea later. How's about you, Marcus?
So I've seen a few good things. I went to see The End of Everything by a theatre company that I followed the shows they've done over the last 3 years, and they're absolutely brilliant, and I found it every bit as exciting as the last 2 pieces they've done. So that was great. And I've seen Waiting for Alice, which has got my flatmate in it. In fact, I've seen it twice because Andre Vincent and Phil Jupitus alternate roles as Tweedles, Dum and Dee. And it's extremely good. Very enjoyable.
I'm very pleased to hear this. I'm seeing it at 6:15 today.
Oh, good. Well, I hope you enjoy.
No, I'm looking forward to it. So, Lucy, how's your first week been?
Been lovely, thank you. I have been to see Sister Psycho, which I very much liked, which is a musical about a robotic killer nun, and
Excuse me?
Yeah, it's quite good,
A musical about a...
robotic killer nun.
Excellent.
Not another one.
One of those, the old robotic killer nun genre.
Look at us, then. Between us, I'd say we've probably seen about 0.03 of the entire film.
Exactly,
Well done us.
we've done well. Do you want milk in your coffee? Coming to the Edinburgh Festival can be an expensive business for punters and for performers alike, with tickets costing in the region of £12 for an hour's show. So unless you're a big name, it can be hard to draw in the crowds as punters look for shows they can bank on. However, in the shape of the Free Fringe, there is a solution, as Ben Walker went to find out.
You're all very welcome. Have you had a good... Has anyone seen anything terrible so far? Not yet. Not yet. Your dreams may come true this afternoon. Anyone seen anything brilliant? Not yet. Not yet. Slightly less possibility of that happening this afternoon.
I'm Cian McAllister.
I'm Derek Johnson.
We've got a show with PBH's Free Fringe called the Sunshine Variety Couch. It's on at 5 to 5 every day. The Free Fringe gives us a freedom. I mean, we simply don't have the money or the profile really to try and go for one of the bigger venues and
Also,
runs.
I think that the Free Fringe audiences are a lot more likely and more willing to buy into newer ideas when they're sitting through a show that they haven't paid for.
It's the way forward, absolutely.
The Free Fringe may not enjoy the same profile and press exposure as the main Fringe, but the movement and the buzz around it has been growing year on year, to the extent that this year there are over 150 free shows. I went to meet the man behind the original Free Fringe. Peter Buckley-Hill, you are the founding father of the Free Fringe in its present form. Can you explain how it started?
It started in 1995 by my realising that an unknown act at the Fringe could not possibly hope to achieve anything if they charged the same price as known acts, and yet most of the venues were pretty much operating a policy whereby that happened. So the obvious thing to do was to make gigs free. That make it easier for people to come, easier for people to discover and learn more about the acts, and generally do a service to both acts and public alike.
I was sharing a flat with an Australian guy last year during the Edinburgh Festival, right? There was 4 Scottish guys and 1 Australian guy, right? The 4 Scottish guys got up at 2 o'clock in the afternoon with hangovers, right? The Australian boy been up since 7 o'clock in the morning, been for a run, made 3 new friends and organised a trip to fucking Thailand, right? I haven't done that in my life yet, do you know what I mean? Kept on saying things like, let's go to the park. We're going, we've got a fucking park. When did that happen?
I asked Fringe regulars Justin Edwards, the man behind Jeremy Lyon, and Robin Ince how much it costs to bring a show up to the festival.
I suppose on average about, Justin, would you say 10 grand probably to put a show?
About that. I mean, so you are in that perverse situation of being on stage, paying, think of it as £300 or £400 a night personally to do your show, and people are paying 10 quid each to come and see it as well. So it's this kind of black hole which just sucks everybody's money out.
I think when I first came up to the Fringe, I could go and see 5 shows, and it didn't cost me that much money. And also, you could see comics really mucking about and see lots of kind of experimentation. Now the terror in everyone's eyes, because if you're spending £10,000 or more, and at the same time, because the audience are spending £12, £14, whatever to come in, it means that you have this enormous pressure to make sure that your show is big and glitzy and very exciting and doing all those things. So I think that's the biggest pity, and probably why something like the Free Fringe is a great idea, is that it does allow for experimentation. It allows new acts to come up here without an enormous risk. And I think that's the great, again, what I like about the Free Fringe. If I ever came back to Edinburgh, then I would do the Free Fringe.
An emergency situation has been reported. Staff are requested to take no action. That's how every Monday morning starts for me here at Computech, the business solutions company where I am employed to do a job with no proper description. It's not so much a fire drill as it is a fire drill. It's just there to make sure everyone's paying attention. Do nothing, Martin. That's how Monday morning always starts. And so that's what I do. I do nothing. Ooh, it's an email. It's a Free Fringe. I've got no sound effects, got nothing. I do everything myself. It's an email. I had to change it back to after I got into trouble for hacking the computer and changing it to. It's frowned upon, but it's one of many tiny, pointless acts of subversion with which I try to brighten up my day here at Computech.
I'm Martin White. I mean, I'm only on the 4th day of doing my Free Fringe show, but the audiences I've had in so far have been very friendly and very warm in comparison to some paid gigs I've done in the past, where people have spent, they'll have spent £10 or something on a gig, and their expectations are a lot higher. At the end of the day, I'd rather do a show and not get any money than do a show and lose thousands of pounds, which is what every other comedian seems to do on the Fringe every year. Nobody really seems to make any money out of doing it. I'm doing it for its own sake. I'm doing it for fun, and if people come to see it, then that's fantastic.
Robin Ince.
From the people I know who are doing it this year, there is a certain glee and excitement and that different pressure that when you walk out and maybe it turns out you haven't sold that many tickets, I can see that there are some performers that kind of look and almost they're counting while they're saying their hellos, going, oh God, that means I've lost another £1,000 tonight. Yeah. Whereas with that thing, all at the end of the Free Fringe, they empty their bucket and go, save for the Siberian coins. There's over £4.20 here.
Hey, drinks.
Lucy, Marcus, would you ever consider performing for free on the Fringe?
Not if hell froze over. Nope, absolutely not. This is terribly arrogant, I'm afraid, but I'm a long way beyond doing that. However, I do think that Fringe tickets are way too expensive. To see most comics on an undressed stage with one microphone, with a theme that loosely they came up with in July and completed on the train on the way here, it ain't worth 15 quid. Not even close. It's not worth a tenner, to be honest.
Well, when you think, that's what you'd pay to get into the comedy store in London or Manchester, and you get 4 acts and a compere, and it's a proper night out, whereas for an hour.
Exactly.
So are you unprofessional enough to perform for free?
I think if you wanted to do something experimental, I think it's true, I think it was Robin who said that, it used to be that you'd see comedians mucking about and doing something a bit fun. So yeah, if you wanted to do like a little sketch, because I have aspirations to act and things like that, and I wouldn't expect people to pay a huge amount of money to see that, because I would be, I'm not trained or anything. So like doing a little sketch show or something, I might think about doing that on the Free Fringe. But I do agree. I think the problem with the Free Fringe is that if people haven't paid any money to see you, then their expectations are naturally lower. I think that, it's nice if people have paid something, and I do expect to be paid because, I'm a professional comedian. You feel sort of embarrassed the amount of money that you're charging, because you think people must think you're coining it in, but you're really not, because there is this black.
But that's the great mystery about Edinburgh. Well, how have we got to a situation where performers have to decide between risking losing tens of thousands of pounds or agreeing to not make anything? It doesn't seem a very attractive choice.
It's insane. And everybody denies that they're making money, so the promoters say they're not.
Somebody's getting rich.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Edinburgh, the city does well out of it. Certain institutions within the city do very well out of the festival. The university does well, and the council do extremely well. In fact, I think they're pushing the fee for licensing on all the venues up by around 300% over the next few years. So, there are lots of people getting rich, and there are plenty of us getting rich from it. I know lots of people who make, I don't know, £10,000 from the Fringe.
The thing is, you don't, I make money out of my show, but it's not what I could make in a normal month in London. I would be much better off doing a normal month of gigs around the country.
Then why do you do it, Lucy?
Well, because I love it, and, it generates, for me, it is financially worthwhile, because even though I don't make as much money at the Fringe as one would like, and also, I have got a set and things, because I do feel like you've got to give people some sort of value for money. They've got to see the money on stage. But it generates a new show that I can then tour, in the autumn or the spring. So actually, it's worth it.
I hope I didn't sound sneery when I was talking about the Free Fringe. It is a fantastic thing, and I don't think if it's any sort of political movement, it should be free sort of thing. That doesn't appeal to me. I don't see the merit in that at all. But if it's a leg up for people, fantastic. And I know lots of people, that myself included, that did do I did shows for Peter Buckley Hill in my first couple of years, and was just glad of the stage time.
And there are some amazing shows on at the Free Fringe. Actually, there are things that I'd wholeheartedly recommend people going to. Quite big names, really, like John Gordillo, I suppose, is the biggest.
Josie Long's doing some, isn't she?
She's doing some stuff, and Pappy's Fun Club, and Chris McCausland, and it's definitely worth going to stuff in the Free Fringe.
The Heckle!
So, Marcus, what are you up to this year at the Fringe?
Well, I'm doing 2 shows. I'm doing a daily topical show where we get up first thing and read the papers, and then myself and some guest comedians go out and do comedy on that day's news, which is very exciting because you never quite know what's going to happen. And
that's the early edition.
That's the early edition at the Udderbelly in a big purple cow. The delicious irony of performing a show in a cow during a foot and mouth outbreak is wonderful. And I'm also doing a stand-up show, which I'm really excited about because I don't know what's going to be in it yet.
It's still being written as we speak.
It's still being written and worked out, and so that should be fun. It's a new theme I've come up with is Your Time Is Up, and it's sort of about blowing the whistle on old institutions that should be pulled to the side of the boating lake to make room for the rest of us. Well, the 3 Abrahamic faiths, conservatism in all its forms, all manner of things, America,
Any lighter ones, like, knitting?
Not yet. I'm working on those. That's what I need. Light and shade. That's the thing.
Just all shade. Now, one of the big events of the Edinburgh Festival this year is the Andy Warhol exhibition at the Royal Scottish Academy. It's a big old collection of some of his most important works, along with a smattering of little-known gems. We sent our own little gem, Andrew Dixon, down to see it, along with comedian Simon Munnery.
I'm standing in front of a wall on which are mounted 5 pictures. In fact, all those portraits are double, 2 for the price of 1, I suppose. It's a basic capitalist economic sales technique. I think. Like the soup cans, famously. I don't know, was he sponsored by Campbell's Soup? We don't know.
You do art yourself, don't you? You paint, and
I have done paintings, yes, at the Arthur Smith Art Gallery.
Is there a frustrated artist kind of trying to break out of you?
No, just a not very good one. And he succeeded, he's got out. Did you see my Damien Hirst joke? The words Damien and Hirst cut up in a glass box. Ha 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 ha. Is that art? Is that... Even if you're asking that question, it's too late.
Is it too late? I was going to ask you that question. Is it art?
Is it art? Well, that's what is art? It's what someone points at and says, is it art No, if one person thinks it's art, then surely. What is art? It is art. Is it art? It's not art. I like the room. There's a room with full of big helium balloons.
I was going to suggest we walk through there. Yeah, totally. Can art be funny?
Yes, I would point to quite a lot. Well, like Banksy stuff is funny. I imagine also Andy Warhol stuff must have been funny just from the shock element. Like on the other wall, I can see a sort of wallpaper made of pink cow heads. When you first saw that, when you first saw pink cow heads, probably would have laughed. And then as time passes and it becomes overly familiar, like a joke's not funny anymore, it becomes more serious.
I mean, it's more extreme than comedy in some ways, isn't it? You've been told that it's art, but it's funny. What are you meant to do? Are you meant to laugh? Are you meant to look at it seriously?
I imagine you'd laugh. On the other wall, I can see repent and sin no more. Again, double. So something's worth saying. It's worth saying twice. Repent and sin no more. Perhaps it's just an age memoir for himself. I wonder whether he looked at his own art much, or just got it made and got on with it.
Obviously, stand-up comedians, there's must be a lot of hard work involved, but it's a bit like
That's
that.
the myth.